Hello, this is Majdumpaboa. Yeah, I'm actually still alive, believe it or not. This is going to be a little off topic kind of new series I'm going to be doing where I just talk about a specific creature and its, appeal and it's how it is in the like balance wise, and generally this is going to be loosely scripted. I have notes, but I have no actual script because I have no actual experience in script writing. So in the future, I may actually have scripted videos, but this is how it's going to be for now. It's going to be. Think of this as like a miniature podcast episode, but instead of like the normal background and whatnot, I'm just going to be talking about this creature while it's on screen. So, and if you read the title, this is a video specifically about Phorurex, and specifically its problems and why it's the most annoying thing ever. If you've seen my tweets about this, I mean I've only tweeted like a couple times, but I despise this thing, and I imagine a lot of other people hate it too for a lot of reasons, and I'm gonna get into that. So 4X has a lot going for it, and that's mainly the main issue. 4X does way too much, and it gets away with way too much. If those of you who don't know or who don't have it unlocked or whatnot, or haven't encountered it as in the arena, first off, I envy you, and two, I'll give you a little rundown. So 4X is a hybrid between Phorosaura and Dracorex. Also, Phorosaura is Forus Rakos and Maiasaura. It's a unique, cunning, fierce hybrid, and it has a lot. It's got swap in, it's got swap prevention, it's got priority, it's got armor piercing, it's got defense shattering, it's got damage over time, distraction, vulnerability, and damage over time cleansing. The best on escape move in the game, I would say, with the exception of, on escape rampage and whatever Hydra Boa has. And Phorurex, it just gets away with way too much. So, main issue a lot of people have with it is its ability to just kind of, clean house with very little effort on the other user's end. Because 4X can swap in, deal a sizable chunk of damage with that swap in rending attack it has. It's more than just swap in savagery, because it applies a lockdown effect and is also an alert ability. So technically, if it is lower, if its health is beneath a certain threshold, it'll do less damage. But who's going to be swapping into Phorosaur when it's low health? The answer is nobody, because Phorosaur, if you're good, you make sure that the Phorosaur is dead before they can swap it out. Because if they do, then they can just keep swapping it in and repeat cycle over and over and over. So Phorosaur's main gimmick is swapping in, doing some decent amount of rending damage, locking down the opponent if they're still alive, and then next turn having an instant priority, cunning rampage, a ×2 damage dealing move that does distraction, removes damage increases, removes crit chance. All of this, coming from a creature that has a base damage of 1,600 damage. Which, I'll just let you know, that's not fun. That's a clean 3,200 damage. So, if you have anything that's around that health range or below and lacks armor or shields, that's not going to survive that. And that's ignoring boosts. This is base level. Boosts are a whole other problem, and kind of what takes Phorosaur from casually broken to unbelievably fucking overpowered broken. Because boosts, usually people crank this thing's health and damage to the maximum, because speed isn't much of an issue considering you have priority pretty much all the time. So, you know, I've, on average, I encounter Phorurexes with above 1,800 damage just on average. Like, most of the Phorurexes I face, they have about 2,000 base damage. So that's, a clean 4,000 coming my way with no real way of actually, dealing with it. And considering that most of the things I have on my team have very little armor or are fairly squishy in some areas, specifically Andrewtops and Trotoboa and a bunch of others. Like, it's a problem because it's basically a free one-shot, which I thought we learned from, Dracoceratops and Dracorex, that giving players a free one-shot is not a balanced, thing. So, and another thing Phorurex has been leading into is this terrible, horrible fucking power creep that Ludia has been introducing over the past couple of years. And if you don't know what power creep is, it's basically a lot of these newer things they keep introducing, they're more stronger and harder to make, and are usually incredibly stupidly broken. And it started with Scorpius Rex Gen 3, because Scorpius Rex Gen 3 is a meta-defining dino. It's technically anti-meta, because, well, it was at the time because the meta had went bulky and resilience were dominating. But Scorpius Gen 3 was the exception. But, it's got one of the best swap-ins, swap-in, instant ambush. Was it critical ambush or whatever? It's camouflage, but it gives it a crit and chance. And it's got the best quill move, Toxic Quills, which stuns and applies damage over time. So and not everything in the meta has a stun resistance, so some things are just gonna, get the shit kicked out of them. And Scorpius has a lot of survivability with the instant ambush and the cunning rampage and the decent decent resistances it has. And then next, more or less, this one came prior to Scorpius Rex Gen 3, but it was more or less made super powerful in the same update. Scunosaurus. Scunosaurus is still, it is right next to Phorurex in, high Tyrant, as in, very little counters, and able to get away with way too much. Scuna has a ton of health, ton of survivability, a shit ton of, a massive damage output, and is just all around solid, it takes a lot. You're gonna have to, you better hope you have something with rending available. And even then, Scuna is a cunning resilient, so it's got, restricted group distraction on demand, and it's, unless you can cleanse that distraction, you're going to be having a hard time. The only thing that ever really gives it trouble is damage over time, which Scorpius Gen 3 kind of filled that niche. Then we got Phorurex and Indotaurus, because Indotaurus and Phorurex, both came packaged in the same update. Indotaurus is broken in some aspects. Indotaurus is far more balanced compared to Phorurex, purely because it's a pure fierce and lacks any kind of, its main drawback is its sluggish speed and fairly mediocre resistances. But its damage output, for a pure fierce, it's got quite the damage output with that rending counter and the revenge cloak and all that. Phorurex. I mean, I'm talking about it. It's the subject of this video. And then we've got Arctovacillus, which is the new what was the first fusible apex. And listen, Arcto, I love you. You're cool as shit, but you are stupidly broken. And all of the creatures I'm mentioning here in this power creep, they're just examples. They'll all get their own individual videos. So, let me just finish up with Arcto. But, Arcto has basically, from what I've heard, after turn 2, it has no losing matchups. Which, that is not a good, that's not a good thing. And for the newest Apex in Kalos Lux, it hasn't been around long enough for people to really give it like a solid placement of where it is, but I'm going to say based off of how I've seen it, it gets away with a bit too much. But that's besides the point. Now back to Phorurex. The other main issue for Phorurex is it has very few counters that are viable, at least. There are quite a few things that counter it, like Antarctivinator, Hydroboa, Spinoconstrictor, Testicornibus, to an extent, Smilonemes, and a bunch of others, but the only ones you'll ever really see in the high arena are Testicornibus, Spinoconstrictor, and maybe Antarctivinator. But that's a very maybe. And also Hydroboa, but, not everyone has Hydroboa, It's a raid boss, and it's rather difficult and whatnot. So, Phorurex has very little things that counter it. And even then, most of the counters, things that counter it, could easily be taken out with a swap-in. Because everyone's fucking running Sarah Magnus and Mono Rhino and a bunch of other fucking swap-in damaging creatures. Because, of course, we need them, apparently. Especially with the new reign of Parasuthops being able to shatter defenses means nothing is basically immune to it. Nothing is immune to swap-in damage anymore. I used to say Majunda Boa and Trotoboa were the ones that would be ones that, would be able to resist swap-in damage, but that's not true anymore because Parasuthops can shatter defenses. And it has a fuck ton of damage to spare, and it's basically never dies because of the power counter heal and the two massive healing moves. So it basically never dies. So, Phorurex, what can you really say? It's very annoying, is to say the least. It's not it is game breaking. It is it has defined the new meta by itself. Basically, it along with Scunosaurus are if you want to get far in the top leagues, they are a must-have. They're not a must-have for me because I hate them, because I hate meta, because I hate the meta, and I will never ever participate in it. The only thing I've ever I've only participated in the meta accidentally, and the only thing I ever plan to use that is ever meta is Arctovacillus, and that's purely because I like it. I like its looks, I like its design, and I like its moveset, and it's a pain in the ass to grind for, so... So, what would you... now this brings me to a segment of what would you do to, fix this creature, make it less annoying. And the thing is, a lot of people would probably get upset if it got unnecessarily nerfed, or unnecessarily in big quotation marks, if it got nerfed. So I'm saying I would suggest, this kind of goes for the arena as a whole, why don't we just make most things, pretty much everything viable, Not everything, should be immensely broken and, easy to unlock or impossible to get a hold of. Everything should be equally, equally available. So, I would be in favor of buffing some things, nerfing some others, and Phorurex is one I would be open to nerfing. Mainly, I'd say bring its health down because 4,050 health is for a cunning fierce. That is more than generous compared to the most of the other cunning fierces. Um, it's got a like much more in terms of health, which frankly it has no right being. It is a cunning fierce. Like fierces and cunnings aren't known for having are not known for having massive you know aren't known for having massive health pools. Cunnings are designed to be squishy and not able to take much because they're countered by things that have tons of health and usually have armor and can cleanse, while fierces are kind of in a mid road because they have average health. But Phorurex, for something that's mainly cunning, it's got way too much health. So I'd say bring it down to like a more reasonable range, like 3,900. Put it on par with Magna and the other Scorpiuses. But yeah, that's my suggestion. I don't think I've got anything else to say. I just say, I guess, Forex is annoying, and I hate the people who use it. So, well, okay, that's a little harsh. Forex is annoying. I'll just keep it at that. So, I hope you enjoyed this video of Majdumpaboa, whatever my fucking name is, talking about a particular creature and why I dislike it, or next time why I like it, because I'm gonna guarantee this. Next video I do about this, I'm gonna be talking about Androtops and why it's an amazing creature and why it's perfectly balanced and peak creature and balanced design wise. And if anyone disagrees with me, I'm sorry, but you're wrong. Just flat out, you're wrong. I hate to break the news to you, but you are very wrong. So this is Majdumpaboa signing out. I'll see you around soon. Also, hi, I'm back and whatnot. Sorry I disappeared for months. It's been quite busy over on my end. So I'm looking forward to making new content. Hope you guys enjoy it. Bye-bye.